When I was young, Europe as an idea did not exist in my country. It was because during the years of communism, which was an internationalist ideology, Europe was just one of the scenes where it was the Cold War. It was one of the scenes around the globe where the Western capitalists clashed with the communist East, and Europe was just one of these scenes. Europe as such did not exist in our narrative or in our rhetorics, although I would say that if Europe was on the agenda at all in my youth, then it was an indifferent subject or a source of historical references, geopolitically analyzed sphere or part of the world. Very briefly, this was what happened in my youth. The story changed towards the end of the 1980s. It was due to the then, which we did not really know. It was because of the imminent or almost imminent collapse of communism. And then there were many routes, ways, directions, aims set how to replace the communist ideology by something else, by something positive that could counterbalance all the detriments that the communist ideology caused. And Europe, one of those narratives, one of the, I would say, among the strongest narratives. So Europe arrived on the agenda in my country and in the Eastern Bloc, I would say, a kind of a savior, a sort of a new idea that is worth following, and it implicitly and explicitly could put an end to the Cold War division. So Europe, in our minds, looked like a unification, a power that could unify our new ideas, new goals, and simply finding new friends. Because in my youth, I had to serve in the army. All Hungarian males had to serve in the army. And then the enemy was either the Italians or Austrians. So whenever we were out, shoot at them. Now this had to be replaced. They are not enemies, but they are friends. And friends because we belong together, and the name of belonging was Europe. When you try to find a unifying force or a rhetorics, then you unavoidably will find yourself in a position that idea or those ideas which are put forward and you try to follow, try to use and try to get yourself identified yourself with, then after a while, the more often you use them, the less strong or energetic it will be. Therefore, every concept, every idea used too often and applied for many things, then it's going to be relativized in the sense that, well, is it really what we want? Is it really that we were looking for? And the idea of Europe came to be not suspicious, but a sort of a neutral something. Yes, we belong to Europe. Yeah, no borders. That's one of the greatest achievements of the after '89, the unification of Europe. No borders. That you can travel freely. For at least a European, it was something that we had not experienced, or in a reduced form only. So, what was this is human nature to some extent. If there is something that you get used to, that it is, yeah, it is obviously that it is. It's no longer an aim. It is no longer something that you have to fight for. But you take it for natural, and if it is natural, well, it's okay. But now Europe, the idea of Europe today seems to be a more controversial term because of its ideology kind of shift from the original savior or absolutely positive meaning. It's more ambiguous on the one hand, although, for instance, a Hungarian, if you ask average Hungarian, all statistics show that, all polls show that Hungary is among the free countries where the European Union is most supported by the Hungarian citizens. So we think that it is something that we need to have, we need to protect, we need to have it. But if you ask them why, there would be just very plain answers to that. I can travel, I can find a work anywhere in Europe, and there is peace. There are many views about that. It's a good thing. It's a sign that it is still a living organism. I mean, the European Union. So it's a good thing. Where can it lead to? Certainly, I cannot predict it. But so far, it is still within the narrative of the original European Union. What is the original narrative? That France and Germany can live together, and they put an end forever, maybe, to their hostilities. I think the core issue is the relationship between France and Germany. As long as this relationship survives, develops, I think European Union will remain. In what form? I don't know. Maybe there will be changes, but this is the core. I think the greatest danger would be if either in Germany or in France or in both countries, they would say that we should find a new way of coexistence. I think this is the core. They are who decide what directions we can go for the general atmosphere in Europe. So this is where I would keep my eyes open to.